Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddy, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
Go honky tonkin', honky tonkin'.
Can you hear
Hi,
us?
Adam.
Can you hear us?
Hey, guys.
Oh, there he is. He's got a fancy microphone at work.
Yeah,
We're back.
I do.
We're back.
Look at
Welcome
you.
back.
We
Cool
are
Fireman
back.
Podcast.
How's your mom and them?
Episode 96.
Hey, no, this is 97.
We are almost there.
This is
No,
97.
Yep,
This is
sorry.
97.
Welcome back, the Cool Fireman
Welcome back.
Podcast, brought
This
to
is
you by
episode
Unkie's
96.
Seasoning. Freddie just
For-
likes to just talk, and I don't
For
know.
all of your cardio and diabetic needs.
I forgot my sunglasses. There we go.
Welcome back. Yes, Unkie Seasoning, low sodium, which is good for your cardiac needs.
Yeah.
High flavor.
but as long as you've got your cardio, you are good to go. And it'll keep you nice and hydrated, the whole bit. So welcome back. The unkiesseasoning.com. Go get you some. And the burn box. The burn box, we're going to get in probably another week or so, week and a half. The last one, what was in the last one? Remind me.
Some gloves, a belt,
Yeah,
some
gloves.
practice rope,
There you go. And some
some
stickers.
stickers.
The hat with
The hat
the,
with the
patch.
patch.
It's an
Oh,
engine
yeah, the
company,
scramble
and
hat.
the lighter company's coming this month.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just
I
got
might
my
lose the-
collector's club today because it probably came Friday, but we left. So
Oh, yeah. It always takes me a little bit longer to get that. That's okay. I
I'll
might
get it and
lose
show
the
you.
stickers. Oh, he's gonna
Stickers
go
are so sick. The stickers
Yeah.
are sick.
Yeah.
I love that that's the addition now.
Yeah, that's nice. I love that. I wanted to give a little special shout out if you guys are okay with that. A guy reached out from the Fireman's Grooming Company and actually sent me some like beard / mustache conditioner or whatever. It's tallow. And I gotta say, it makes your mustache and or your beard very soft and very shiny. Haven't really tried the wax yet, but I think I need to shave before I do that because I don't really need wax for my handlebars. You know what I mean?
What does the wife say about your softness? Is it softer? Only she would know.
She could care less
True.
about anything
Couldn't.
that has to do with couldn't.
Couldn't care less.
She couldn't care less. You're right. I was wrong. I stand corrected again.
If you don't carry your granddaddy's buck 110, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
But yeah, no, she doesn't care anything about my mustache. But I like it, So what are we gonna do? So now it's
Well,
soft and
yeah,
shiny.
It's softer. She knows it's like a broom.
We
You're
got
trying
2
this kid
FD
out,
and
it should
Ys
be
this
softer.
month. We
Yeah, it was
got,
really cool Irish one.
We got Squad 288.
Yeah.
We got Engine 44, the Fighting 44,
Nice. Oh my
Yeah, that
goodness.
Sweet Patches, and of course,
I
St.
like
Patty's
the
Day
Fighting
coming up.
44 coin.
Yeah. I think it's solidified. So yeah, you're showing some St. Patty's Day swag. It sounds like
Yeah.
we're gonna have a
There you go.
special St. Patty's Day show. I don't know exactly what number it is. I think it's might probably be like number 98 with Jeremy from National Fire Radio. So it sounds like we're gonna get Jeremy on and have some fun with him because that guy, if anybody knows how to start and do a podcast, it's Jeremy. He's done an amazing job.
I can't wait to ask him about his time on the TV show The Bear.
the bear.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
I
Hell
just
yeah.
want to
His
ask him about
cookbook.
I want to ask him about his cardio and his A1C.
Okay.
Doug is very
Those are big
stuck
deals.
on those big deals.
It's a
Which
good
they are
thing
big
that
deals.
Doug lets stuff go. That's the best part about him.
Yeah, I'm
It really is.
that's
Yeah.
me. It's like
Yeah.
a duck. It just rolls off my back.
Right. And I also wanted to remind everybody that our podcast is actually streamed in video. I mean, did
It
you
is.
know that?
We're
Yeah.
We're in video, in living color.
We have a special podcasting streaming, whatever you call it, site, Riverside, and we actually post video podcasts on Spotify and YouTube. So just want to remind everybody of that. And please subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast. Blah, blah, blah. The podcast. And then the last thing that we need to do for some what?
Then I said pay the bills. Subscribe.
Pay the bill is a moment of silence. One thing that we like to do here on the podcast. And moment of silence for all our brothers and sisters we lost over the last week. Well said.
Yeah, our down Unkie's way, the Virginia Beach Police Department lost 2 officers a couple of days ago.
Yeah, young cats too. Man.
Young cats.
Was that the one that I saw that were murdered?
Yeah, pretty much.
They pulled over a gentleman doing a traffic stop about, I think, roughly about 11:30 at night, and the guy pulled out a pistol and shot both of them. Then went up to them and executed them, and then drove off. He was later found suffering from an internal wound.
Self-inflicted.
Later died from
self-inflicted suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
He went out the easy way.
So
Coward.
if you can't tell, we're all on here doing a podcast. We're going to talk about what are we talking about? On and off duty work.
We're
life
all on
balance.
here doing a podcast.
But what I was trying to get at was like we're a little low energy today, but that's normal because we're not.
I
every
just drove
time
back from Tennessee, so I'm tired.
Not every time do we jump on here and we're a ball of energy. So we're sorry if you're feeling that energy, but here we are, and we're talking about work-life balance. So it's a kind of a perfect, what Brian loves to say is segue. What a perfect segue to go right into our topic. And so
yeah,
it's
like that little
work-life
cart that you ride on.
Yeah, right. The little man mover segues right into what we do off duty. And so one of the best things, people ask you, why do you want to be a firefighter? And not only like, do you say, well, it's the best job in the world. I mean, I think a lot of firefighters would say that because it is. But your time off is kind of cool. And a funny story, we're trying to do some work around the house, and I called up my buddy who's a general contractor, and he said, okay, well, when do you want me to come out? I know you firemen never work, so I know you're probably open. And I started laughing, and I said, well, it's funny you say that because I actually have 11 days off. And he starts laughing, and I said, but I just got off a stretch of 7 in a row. Then I had a couple days off. Then I worked 5 in a row. So yeah, of course I called you when I have some time, but that's the nice thing about being a firefighter. Back in the day, the people, the guys, the women, the men, mostly men back in the day, that laid the groundwork for us new firefighters in this new generation, used to work side jobs. And I mean, not as so much more different than what we're doing now. We got the side hustle of the podcast, and Unkie's got his seasoning company. And I know Fred, I know you do a lot of stuff, video stuff and advertising for different companies on social medias and stuff. Huh?
Social medias and stuff.
I got a lot
social
of hats,
medias and
unfortunately.
Stuff. Yeah. And Brian's got his East Coast Kelly. He's got his LLC thing with that he does. What's the word I'm looking
He's
for?
got a lot of hats too.
Yeah, consulting. He does this consulting business. But I feel like back in the day, and maybe you guys can answer this, but you hear stories about the guys like, oh, I came over and helped you build a deck. Or I did my tiling business, or I build stairs for a construction company. Like that doesn't happen as much, at least around me. But again, that's why we had to do this podcast, because you guys are on the East Coast and Freddy's up in the North, protecting the wall. And so what's the difference? Like, why doesn't that happen anymore? Is it because we're making more money? Like what's the deal? Why do like firemen not, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. On the East Coast, tell me. Do 90% of the people, firemen, have second jobs? I don't know.
I think that's probably pretty high.
What?
Would you
You
say
think
90?
it's too high?
90%?
I don't know. I'm guessing. No, tell me. Do a bunch of the guys you work with, do they have second jobs?
I would say at least
Let me think
over
of my
half.
shift.
a lot of people do overtime because fire departments across the nation are short.
Only 2 on my shift do.
And how many on the shift?
9.
Okay, so 2 out of the 9. But dude, Unkie, I think you nailed it. I think that guys are
I'll
like,
say that a lot of ours comes from the fact that we've had a lot of support from the board lately, and plentiful raises, bountiful harvest, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean that deferred a lot of guys. I mean, hell, we've had a lot of people stop providing ALS because they just didn't. People used to do it for the money because it was a raise, and a lot of people now are like, "Look, man, you're paying me enough now to be a BLS provider. I don't want to do it anymore."
Damn. Well, I mean, that's probably good because that takes those paramedics that could really give a shit about being a paramedic out of the mix.
Well, I
Mhm.
mean, they still care, you know what I mean? But
Well, of course.
it's
But
just the
okay,
responsibility that goes along with it, and the scrutiny,
sure. Yeah. No,
legality, the
absolutely.
litigation.
Yeah. No, and that's interesting that you say that. But I think Unkie nailed it. I think, guys would rather work
That wasn't
in
me.
overtime. Guys would rather work in overtime than than have to work a second job and worry about that schedule as opposed to, your work schedule, your fireman work schedule. And then you got your kids that you have to juggle and all that. But I mean,
It's easier
me,
to do 12 hours of overtime instead of cutting 20 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
The only problem is
Um,
that overtime can come and go. It dries
Yeah,
up.
you can't count
It
on it as
dries
part
up
of
in
your
some
salary.
seasons.
Yeah.
No. And then that's another good point that you make. You can't count on it. I mean, luckily for me, I feel like, at least like the last 5, 6, 7 years has been pretty bountiful, if you will. I guess that's our word of the day. If this was Sesame Street, the letter for the day is B. Yeah. The more you know. And so the word for today is bountiful. So we've been lucky. But everybody kind of has it in the back of their mind that they're like, well, shit, this could dry up. And then what, but if I
It
told
could
you
all be over.
what 2 or 3 of the guys in my department are paying for a mortgage on a 1,300 square foot home in Southern California, you might actually have to go wipe yourself in the bathroom. It's insane. And so they're kind of like almost relying on working some OT because that's just the way it's got to be for them. But self-inflicted. But that's the times.
A lot of our guys do it, and again, because of the salaries that we're being paid now, I'm personally speaking now, a lot of guys are doing it to either get the mortgage paid off before they retire, or something like that, or they're just putting most of their fire department check in deferred comp as much as you can. I forget what the percentage is now, but anyway, and then they're just living off of that money. Like I used to work for a buddy who owns a power washing business. He works for the department as well, and amazing amount of business he does. I mean, a lot of business, a lot of money, several times his fire department salary. And I would work for him, and that was just me and my wife's play money. Like whatever we wanted to blow it on, we blew it. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
You go to
I didn't
Disneyland.
have to do it. Yeah, we went to Disney a lot. But that was just our fun money.
Yeah.
That's kind of where
it didn't affect our budget at all.
That's kind of where the college is for me right now. Is I got the department for the insurance and most of the bills, and then the college money, and then Emily walks dogs on the Rover app, which is great. But
we use Rover. We board here at our house, so we use Rover. That's our passive income. I guess you could say that's a part-time job now.
So we use all of that money. The college and Rover goes to like the kids' activities, baseball, dance, cheerleading, costumes, equipment. If we have to travel for baseball, stuff like that. So, and then there's always things that pop up. But,
oh yeah,
in a perfect world, I get this CPR business off the ground, and I can one day have play money. I'm not sure what this you speak of. Play money.
Well, I got paid. I got paid
the
in
money
cash,
that I use
and
that
we
I
just
get
was reckless with it.
But I do know, and this is maybe the sad part about it, and whenever I hear this, like it always, you get a catch in your throat or whatever, but you hear like you only get 18 summers with your kids, enjoy every one, or, you say like, oh my God, we're playing baseball every weekend. And, you say like, oh, one day they're not going to be playing
Right.
baseball anymore. So yeah, it's stressful, and managing the time and the money and get them here, get them there. I'm on shift. My daughter has to go to dance while my son has to go to practice, and there's people going in 4 directions. But that chaos, unfortunately, will disappear one day. And while it sounds maybe great in theory, like, oh, we won't be running crazy anymore, a positive, we're going to miss it because, like Andy Bernard said in The Office, sometimes I wish you knew you were in the good old times while you were in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look, I'm 45 and I look back to when I was, 18, 19. I'm like, man, the good old days, you talk about that, but your good old days are like, you're living in them right now.
Oh yeah. But I don't think we're going to truly understand that until we're, when we're retired and our kids have flown the coop. But I think, Doug, you know it more than all of us, just because your kids are older and they're already at the point where like, Dad, I'm just going to go drive over to my buddies or whatever. And like,
Yeah.
they get home, but I still have,
my son will be 20 in a couple of weeks, and my daughter, she's got her driver's license and a job. And like, so yeah, she'll be 17 in July. So yeah, at some point you lose that connection, Freddie. And you talk 18. 18 is probably a stretch. It's probably closer to 15 or 16 now, to be honest with you.
yeah. Yeah. But
I guess that all depends on how the kids are too.
Yeah.
The work-life balance is a real thing when you're working 24-hour shifts. And one thing that I've noticed that I talked about when we had Audra and Chelsea on from the Dear Chiefs was, like when you want to go out with the boys, or the boys call you and they're like, hey, we're going to go out tonight. Well, it's like, I just got off a 48-hour shift and now I got to help the wife at home with certain things, or I got certain things to do at home. Their home, their schedule is whatever. Let's just call it 9 to 5. It might be a little bit different than that, obviously, but we'll just call it the 9 to 5. And they have every night to be home, but except for that one night, they want to go out with the boys. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm home, but I just got off a 24 or 48, 72-hour shift, whatever it is. And so it just feels differently, it just feels different, even though you got the day off, but yeah, and it also
almost like it's guilty. You're guilty for trying to do something for yourself, and
I feel that
every 5 months that you're going out with your friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I feel guilty when I want to go play golf with the boys. I'm like, the horses need this done. I need to get this shed built. I need to put a roof on this. I feel a lot of guilt, but my wife
maybe
is
you
really,
don't.
my wife,
Maybe you
she's
don't
really
have
supportive. She's like, Douglas, go. All that stuff can wait.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say,
And
maybe
vice
you
versa,
don't have
right?
it, Doug, but like, when's the last time? It's hard. Like, we kind of did last night, but like, when's the last time for my family that 4 of us sat at the table, when we're not on vacation? Because you're on vacation, there's nothing to do. But like, one kid's going to dance, one kid's coming back, somebody's got homework, somebody, not feeling good, or, Emily has a call she has to be on. Like, there's always things.
Homework is the biggest scam in history.
I think
feel like that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, you got
That's a whole other podcast.
It is, but I think the unanimous public would support that. Like, homework's a sham.
Yeah, if you can't get it done in class, teach it tomorrow.
Do you not taking up my family?
And I'm an instructor. Like, I am the down the teaching road, and I get frustrated when they get sent home loads of homework, because it's like
2-3 hours of homework.
Man,
like, what are they going to do?
They were just with you from 8 to 3.
I haven't hit
both
that
of
yet.
my children. Both of my children have activities, so they're not done with their activities usually till 5:30, 6 o'clock. And now you have to start 3 hours.
Right.
And let's be conservative.
Are you spending family time? Yeah. Are you getting enough rest?
90 minutes of homework.
Yeah, that's conservative.
My son is in the prime growing years for him. Like, he's about to turn 14. Like, so he comes home after school every day and like takes an hour nap just because he is just exhausted. And I've seen, I don't know how verified the study is, but I've seen things where they said like boys between 13 and 17 need as much sleep as like a newborn because their body is in this rapid growth phase and they're just burning calories and stuff like that. So like he comes home and he's just like, I just need to sit down for 5 minutes. And every day it's like, he's been out for an hour. We should probably wake him up so we can do homework.
And Matt's
like
peaking on that, and Unkie's just getting started on that, and I've gone through it.
I've got a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Does he sleep?
Yeah.
A lot?
Does he sleep right now?
Yeah, and sleeps too much. He's like his mom. Sets the alarm for 5 o'clock in the morning. I get home at 8:30. It's still going off.
Yeah.
I gotta take him to school.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in the last year or two, like I didn't start feeling age. We'll just call it age. I didn't start feeling age till 40. I mean, at 35, I noticed aches and pains. Like when I go play sports, I play them hard. You know, when I'm playing soccer, I'm pretty aggressive. And so I've known that I've been beating my body up my whole life with baseball and soccer and everything else. And I ran, basically pavement for 90 miles a week when I was in high school. And so now that I'm 30, when I hit 35, I noticed aches and pains, but at 40, I was like, okay, this is the real deal. Now 41 is even worse than 40. I'm like, I can't wait to see what 42 is and 50. Like that's going to be not fun.
And it's hard to help them with their some of their schoolwork because like when all of our parents were at the school, the senior class for math was algebra. Now they're teaching algebra at such a young age, and they got a new style of math. So you can't just tell them, well, 2 + 2 is 4. You have to do that new math style. And I mean, luckily Doug just missed that because he's still working with M's and X's and I's and stone tablets when he was growing up. And now it's just that new math.
Yeah.
Abacus.
What's the new math called? It's called something. I forget. Progressive.
Common Core.
Common Core. Yeah. Common Core.
That's the last one I heard of. I don't know. To me, it was just mathematics.
That's what we use. That's what we're using. But how do you add
it's
3
a lot
plus
of extra
4?
numbers?
And it's like, well, first you take the 8 and then you subtract the 5. And then that's when you get to the root number. And I'm like, wait, why don't you just put 3 + 4? That's 7. Like, what? But I guess it creates a better base for the kids. I don't know. Anyway, but you're right.
Well, no, I don't believe that. It may be true, but I'll tell you what they can't do is write a damn sentence.
Or cursive.
Yeah, right. Cursive, print, doesn't matter. They can't write a damn sentence. The handwriting looks like shit, and everything's
Do they need to?
abbreviations. No, and I had this conversation with a guy at work that I'm like, everything is tablet based and everything is electronic now. Like these kids don't need to write like handwrite. And it's going to get worse. Unkie, by the time your kids get to high school, God knows what's going to be going on.
Babies.
Yeah.
Dude, it hasn't been that long though. How many applications for fire departments did you guys do on a typewriter?
I never typed one.
Really?
I handwrote them. I never typed one.
Really?
I mean, I used a typewriter growing up, yes, but I didn't. Not my fire department. Okay.
Okay. I did a couple. I mean, I'm not that old. You know what I mean? But I
did. I think I did all mine online. Actually, I might have handwrote the first one, but
yeah, I might have handwrote some, but mostly online.
But now it's all. Do you guys use government jobs?
I'm sure we do. Again, it's been so long since I couldn't tell you right now. But I think Gov Jobs is pretty much standard for most people.
Yeah, which makes it so easy.
You send my chief an email.
Yeah, because
that's how you apply now.
I know when I applied at the federal prison years ago, it saved my application on there, and I could just go in there and update whatever was needed and apply from that site to Petersburg, Butner, wherever I wanted to apply to. And I'm sure Gov Jobs is the same thing. It just keeps your resume and everything saved in that database.
And as long as you're not lazy.
And you could probably, you could probably apply to 10 people at one time. Click, 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 send. And then,
Yeah. And then you realize you didn't update your resume,
Yeah. Hey, shout out my neighbor, Joe. He just got a career fireman job. Good for him. He starts in March.
So we have something like gov jobs, I guess up here it's called EMCO. EMCO. It's like a testing service, and all of the area fire departments like subscribe to it. And you need an EMCO test like as your test, and then you can go through one.
It's like a
so
universal thing.
You take the test, and then you can go through and you can click all the departments that you want to see your test, and you can attach your resume, you can attach your CPAT certificate, and all that stuff. So I guess it's similar, but
Yeah,
there's still
we have that too.
a handful
I mean,
of departments that do their own thing.
Well, for here, you got to go on government jobs, figure out who's, hiring. Then you have to apply, and then you have to attach what you just said, Fred. It's like a NTN, they call it here, or there's two of them. And to be honest, without knowing a lot about it, I think it's just another money grab. We have this CPAT, this physical ability test that we could take. It's cardio, and a lot of like carrying things, and but it's only good. A lot of the departments will say, well, it has to be valid within six months, and it's like $120 each time they do it. And meanwhile, I'm probably like blowing people out of the water right now, but meanwhile, I won't tell the department, but like there's a specific department that like feeds instructors there, and they're making, I don't want to guess, but it's a lot of money. Yeah, I'll guess $80, $90 an hour. Like, and these poor kids that are working, well, California minimum wage now is like $20 an hour. But back when I was going through, I was making $8.50 an hour at the private ambulance company. Yep. And we were paying $120 every 6 months if you wanted to apply for a fire department. And I'm like, really? These guys are full-time fire guys that are making this much money just watching kids rock around in a circle doing a lot of cardio?
When we used to advertise for proctors for our pre-employment stuff, and guys get paid overtime to go stand there, and I mean, their overtime rate.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I get it. So we're kind of the same way. Yeah, I didn't really hear you. Kind of broke up, so I don't know how that sounded.
That's Elon's internet, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
I think the main thing.
That's my boss, man.
I think the main thing that is kind of glaring is the fact, and Doug kind of touched on it with where he works, but I think in the olden days, it was you had carpenters, plumbers, cement guys, electricians, whatever, and then they were like, yeah, I could do this firefighting too. And then the firefighting, while it was probably their main job, was more of their side job, and they'd get off of work and they'd go do all of their they were trained electricians who went to the fire academy, let's say.
Yeah.
I think now, and this is even with dual income houses, I think now it's almost a necessity that people have some type of side
secondary
gig
income.
just to afford life. Like, we've upped our groceries. We've upped our grocery tab, board bill, or not board bill, but what you throw in per week for food. We've upped it twice since I've been on this department, coming up on, it'll be 3.5 years here. Like, the groceries are just going up. So it's like the only way to survive is to have that secondary means of income. And for some of us, like myself, I work at the fire academy. I teach on the paramedic side also. Started up this CPR business, and it's just I'm trying to scattershot, I guess you could say, and see what sticks, see what I can knock down and bring home, because I know that there's a market, there's a need for it. The academy's going to run no matter what. I actually enjoy it, so that's a benefit to the money. You never want to go somewhere where you hate it, but
yeah,
I think it's more of a necessity now than idle hands. I feel like that used to be it with the old timers was, well, I can't just go home and sit. I got to do something. So they were electricians or carpenters or whatever.
Yeah. And, well, a lot of them were to start with. It's a blue collar profession, obviously. So a lot of those blue collar guys that were swinging hammers and laying block, whatever, were like, you know what, I can go do that and get good insurance, man, and I can still do this. I can do the handyman thing, just advertise a handyman service, and do that. An old timer told me when I first started, if you want to start a business, because back then we were really, I don't want to say understaffed, but our staffing was much less than what it is now. So overtime was plentiful, but he said you cannot count on that as part of your salary. Don't ever do that. He said, if you want to start a business, get in the service industry and find a need, whether it be power washing. A lot of people do that. That's a big deal. When I started doing that, I had no idea how many people would pay you to just power wash their house. Auto detailing. I mean, anything,
Mm-hmm.
Find a service that people don't want to do themselves, something people don't want to do themselves, and do that.
I had a friend that worked down in Key West, and he says the majority of those firefighters, they were firefighters for all the benefits.
Yeah.
So they even gone out, taking the fire truck out and go drafting to set up the towel squirt, spray water. And the chief can look out his window and say, oh, my guys are out there training. They're out there rock lobster diving. They're doing their full-time job while on duty. They were just there for benefits. I mean, they were good firefighters and all that good stuff, but diving for rock lobsters.
So, Unkie, you got your business, which takes, I'm sure, a lot of time, right? Not only the logistics of all just getting the seasonings and doing the seasonings, but then you got to sell the seasonings, and you go to all these
the marketing
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's
right?
a lot.
Doug, you've got a lot going on at home. You were coaching and all that, with the daughter, and then when she
I don't get
left,
paid for that.
Were. I'm just saying.
I don't get paid for softball, but it takes a lot of my time. Yes,
we're talking about work-life balance. So
absolutely.
My question is: do you guys just forge on, or do you guys have a specific thing, or is there I'm going to give myself 30 minutes, whether it's reading a book, I don't know, reading a book, closing, staring at the wall, counting the sheep, what, or do you just forge on and just say, fuck it, go, let's go for it?
I try to keep forging, but 2 weeks ago, my wife, we were like, look, it's been hectic around here. We've been busy as hell. There's some family stuff. And she's like, look, she sent me a Disney cruise. It was going out of Galveston, this past week. I guess I left Thursday or Friday. Anyway, she said, can we go on this? I'm like, sure, honey, whatever. I can take time off whenever I want. It's not a problem. So I called my buddy in Florida and said, hey, Phil, can y'all, because they're empty nesters now and, whatever. I was like, hey, can you guys go? He was like, well, actually, I got to go to Nashville for work because he's retired from the military, but he works as a government contractor kind of thing. He said, I got to go to Nashville for work Tuesday through Friday. But we were thinking about going to Gatlinburg, check out Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge when we leave here because we're driving up and then we'll just, swing back. He said, why don't y'all come out here? Perfect. So I took today off.
Forge is amazing.
Yeah, today's my shift day. So I took today off and we left. I worked Friday and then we left Saturday morning and went down there and spent Saturday night, Sunday, and came back today. And just a quick whim, spontaneous trip to just kind of disconnect and get away from it. And it was great to see a whole friend. Not only was it good for me and the wife to get away from all the stress and just kind of relax for a little bit, but we saw two of our greatest friends. So it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And
as I gotta stay busy.
You got to stay busy, just regardless.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm sure, Adam, I'm sure part of what you do, either whether it's for Unkies or with the kids, it's cathartic for you. There's something. Yeah. Smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. Yep. Smoking a cigarette, taking it, on the pooper. I'm designing some kind of graphics for myself, for the podcast, for friends and their businesses. And when I'm not doing that, I'm 100% just submerged in my kids.
Right.
They're giving them the attention and they go take a nap, they go do something else. I'm out the door doing something else.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. There's always something I can do here on the property. I've always got something to do.
For sure.
I have to have that break sometimes to say, look, I can't come home from working and on my 2 days off, just work nonstop. I have to slow down some. So I kind of prioritize things. And I mean, that's just the way I manage my life. But yeah, I've got animals, I've got a lot of property, so I have to manage that, but still manage my personal life and say, look, Douglas, you need a rest day. It's okay to rest today.
No, that's good.
I mean, Matt,
I honestly, I try to balance it now around the weather. Like if it's going to be a shitty day outside, all right, today's going to be my rest day. And tomorrow's going to be 10 degrees warmer. All right, cool. I'll go get shit done tomorrow.
Mhm.
Like the next 2 days, again, today's my shift day. So tomorrow and Wednesday, I think it's going to be 69 or 70 degrees here. So I've been off. Today was my off day or was my work day, but I'm off. So the next 2 days, I'm gonna do things around the house.
Yeah.
Because the
And
weather's
Matt,
gonna be great. So
And Matt,
it
you were
works out great.
saying like, what do you do? Do you just trudge on? I mean, you have to. Like you and I talked on the phone earlier today, and you're like, hey, like, you need to get a couple of episodes filmed, and like my day today, unfortunately, is jammed. It is what it is. But you got to make time for the priorities and what have you. And whether or not you trudge on, like we were talking earlier with homework, like my son is sitting next to me doing homework right now. And you know, if you're watching on the video, you've seen me mute and then reach over, like we're doing stuff, but
Yeah.
multitasking, it's what we do. It's
As Parker pokes his head in.
yeah, right. It's a way to get problems done. And I don't want to let anybody down, and I also don't want to let anything falter. So right now I'm multitasking. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing a great job on his math and a couple of questions. Boop, mute, come over. Okay, we're back and we're here.
That's the phrase, Fred. You nailed it. We have to multitask at work like crazy. Everybody knows that. Everybody in the fire service knows that. You have to be a multitasker and you have to focus on multiple things at one time. And I think because of our work schedule, that's really extrapolated at home in having to do that, because you have to manage. I got to manage the property. I got to manage the wife. I got to manage the animals. I got to manage the kids. You know, I got to manage softball. So I have to multitask all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to be good at that. Whether that means you got to get some ADHD medicine, cool, man. Whatever it is, what it is.
Yeah. I started this little segue about 5 minutes ago, and just because, just to bring up the whole mental health awareness part of it. And when we bring up life, work, balance, like that's what it's all about, is our mental health and whether or not, we can handle what we're doing. And so I'll say, Freddie, I do agree with you. Like you got to make it happen, right? Like we all know, like you got to pay the bills, you got to feed the horses, you got to coach your kids. There's shit you got to get done. Right. But at the same time, let's not forget that, like what Greg said when he was on from Rad, and him and I talk a lot, on the phone, not every day, but we talk about just, being intentional to help yourself, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like do something for yourself. You already are doing it, but just make sure that you, like Doug, like it could be that he's mindlessly going out and feeding the horses. Right. But just think of it as like being intentional that you're going out and doing that for yourself, for your family, and take that time to kind of like, not stress out about it.
I'm not gonna lie, it's really peaceful to me to go out there and handle the horses. And when I feed them, I pet them. I might brush them, pick their feet. Yeah, I brush them, pick their feet. Whatever. It's just because they're peaceful creatures. Like it's something that when I get on my tractor, like, and so I put my AirPods in and get on my tractor, and I'm just working, and it's peaceful to me.
Yeah. So as Greg says, like, you already are doing things for yourself. Just make sure it's intentional, and that will help you. Yeah.
Shout out Greg Rudiger.
Shout out. Yep. In fact, he's going to start a podcast.
Hell yeah. I want to, real quick, I want to touch on something from a recent episode of our EV stuff. Rick texted me a little while ago and said, you guys started something, because I had to do an interview today with Wayne Koval. He's a reporter for Channel 6 News here in Richmond. So somebody saw it, and now he's done an interview with the news. So it's
because of our podcast.
Yeah, somebody saw it, I guess, and it became a thing. And one more thing, 2 days ago, I think it was, we had, literally, it's like 3 days after that podcast dropped, 2-3 days after that podcast dropped, we had a Tesla fire when our guys were on scene for 4 hours.
Yeah, you sent us that.
It couldn't have been more timely.
I randomly, and it's probably because our phones are listening to us all the time, but I was on Instagram, and the first thing that popped up when I opened it was a Tesla fire. and then so I actually shared it to our story, so you can look at it in our story. Well, by the time this drops, it won't be there anymore. But
The company
anyway,
officer that
so
was
yeah,
there said he could hear the batteries like zzz
Popping off.
and popping off slowly.
Yep.
But yeah, our guys were on scene for 4 hours, and again, I'm not saying it's because of us, but regardless, Rick did a interview today with the local news, and if it helps a homeowner not burn their garage, then their house down, great.
yeah. I was telling Greg about our Tanya Herbert Thin Red Line Decon episode, and how that post got some mixed reviews, which is normal, right? Everybody's going to have. They took what we said very literally, that we thought that every engineer should be on air while they're pumping the rig, and although all of us understand that that might not be feasible, but it's something just to be aware of, that yes, the engineer had the most carcinogens on their skin after a fire. And so when Tanya said, engineers should be on air, that of course, like, we understand, like, yeah, they could be on air and be safer, but we can't all just live in this bubble of, we all understand that this is an inherently dangerous job. What do you got, Adam?
One of my friends, he's a captain, another base, sent me a picture today. They watched that episode, and they talked about decon and stuff like that at the fire station.
Yeah. And so just randomly, I told Greg about that, because that post went sideways for us, and I was giving him a little insight on that. But he also said, well, that's funny that you say that, because we just had like a management meeting or whatever, because he's the health and wellness guy. And they brought up, just not knowing anything, just brought up the whole PAH thing with engineers, because Greg helped start the engineer process where he works now. And so they're like, well, what about this? We need to put guys on air. And he's like, whoa. We understand the facts. We understand the research, and we're going to do something about it, but let's not, let's be proactive and not reactive, if you will. So, of course, that's what we meant.
You have a good chance to not get cancer from that fire if you don't go to it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of, right. Yeah. Just don't. Well, yeah, there was one comment. Why don't we just park 3 blocks away and squirt it from, like, obviously they were being a smart ass, which is fine. It's all
about helicopters.
Yeah. Helicopters. Yeah. Or drones. Why don't we just shoot it with drones? Yeah. But Tanya did a great job. That was a great episode. It's very, great awareness. In fact, I was reached out to by an old fire captain who's retired from us. He is, I don't want to butcher his title, but it's like a state director of the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. And he said, if you guys ever want to collaborate with FCSN, he's willing to come on, or he'll have a representative come on. I'm not sure. But somebody from Firefighter Cancer Support Network, just to talk about what their research is that they're doing. And, everybody understands the culture of fire service. So,
hey, speaking of Tanya, real quick, we're coming up on 100 episodes. We're going to do some giveaways. You guys stay tuned for that. We'll put some stuff out about that. But Tanya was kind enough to donate some stuff to us that we're going to give away as part of that 100th episode giveaway stuff. So we'll figure out how we're going to do that, whether it be, we'll pick random listeners or subscribers or something. We'll figure it out. Just stay tuned for that stuff.
Yeah, we've got some stuff from Crafty American. We've got those beer koozies that we need to give away. A hat. We got a T-shirt. So we got some fun stuff coming up. So yeah, that's been a good episode, guys. It's work-life balance. New firefighters, talk to the old guys about what it used to be like, and be proactive with your life. If you're driving down the street and you're screaming and yelling at everybody that passes by you that doesn't use their blinker, like, you're probably like pissed off because of something. Like I do all the time, right? Like, that's not normal. And then Kenny Mitchell from OYT, Operation Yellow Tape, says that, like, that's not normal behavior. You're tired, you're pissed off, you're got PTSD because of some shit, whatever. Deal with it.
It's
like,
okay
in a
to
good way, not
and change,
not just deal with it, but talk to somebody. So, anyways, we're always there. Our inboxes are always open. If anybody out there needs help with work-life balance, we're trying to do our best too. So we're definitely not professionals. We just play one on TV. So that's it.
And reach out and let us know, like, what you guys do to deal with that work-life balance. How you balance it. What do you have any strategies? Do you have anything that you have found over your career that works better? Or, I want to hear from the dude that's divorced 3 times. Like, hey, I was stubborn and I did this and I wouldn't change. And it cost me a marriage. So don't do this, because I'll be honest with you, there's probably some of us out there who are hard-headed numbskulls who don't give in or don't do things the correct way. And maybe, we're not balancing that work life like we think we are. Maybe we think we're doing a great job. And nobody likes getting called out. So
your spouse would say otherwise.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
call
I'm
us
doing
out.
better with spouse number 2 than I did
Check
with
it.
1, but it's never perfect.
And the only thing I'll leave, I'll end with, and anybody else can do their ending, but I think it's very profound, is just remember, your family will always be there, but your job will be posted a week after you die. So
Yes, it will.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very well said. That's it. That's all we got. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe. We're on all your podcast listening preferences, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm all your platforms. Subscribe to us. But that's been
And video on YouTube and Spotify.
Sure is. All right, who's ending it?
I will.
Go.
Roll it, Gigi.
roll it, Gigi.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!